Today we're going to talk about the different types of scale of measurement. So we have four types of scale of measurement. So let's talk about the first one. So the first one is the nominal scale data. So in the nominal scale data, it is qualitative and categorical. It is including names, colors, labels, tables, genders, and etc. In here, order doesn't matter. So the example here is just 1 red, 2 blue, and 3 green. So in this thread, it can be anything. It can be 5%. On the blue team, it can be have 3 persons. And on the green team, it can have 2%. So as you can see here, the orders doesn't really matter here. So we just name 1, 2, 3, but it is in the state of randomness. It's red, blue, and green, which is clearly doesn't have an order. Now let's talk about ordinal scale data. So in the ordinal scale data, there will be ranking and placement. So the order here, those matters, but the difference cannot be measured. So the example here is we have a first place, second place, third place. So as we can see here, we have ranking and placement of any individual. And the order matters here, but the difference of them cannot be measured. You cannot measure the difference in skills, right? You cannot take the difference of the excellent and the satisfactory. Now let's talk about interval scale data. So in the interval scale data, the order matters. The difference can be measured except the ratios, but it does not have true zero starting point. So the example here is going to be temperature. So in temperature, we can have 30 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So as we can see, the order matters here. But we cannot take the ratios in the difference in the ratios, and it does not have zero starting point. Now let's talk about ratio scale data. So here the order those matters. Difference can be measured including ratio. It contains 0 as starting point. So we can talk about it as number series. So 70, 30, 56, 82, and 90 is an example of ratio scale data, or your individual report card. That is an example of ratio scale data. So we can have also an order like 30, 56, 70, and 88. As we can see, it is an ascending order, and their ratios can be measured. Now let's have a summary. Let's answer this. You can pause the video and answer this problem. We're just going to put check mark and a cross mark. So let's start with nominal data. So it is labeled check, but it does not have a meaningful order, and it cannot be measurable differences. We cannot have them, and it doesn't have true zero starting point. Let's go to ordinal. It is labeled, and it can have a meaningful order, but we cannot measure the difference, and it doesn't have a starting point. Now let's talk about the interval scale data. So here it is basically labeled, right? And it does have a meaningful order, and the difference are measurable, and it doesn't have a true starting point. So now let's move on to ratio scale data. So ratio scale data are labeled. It does have a meaningful order. If you wanted, you're gonna put it. And it does have a measurable difference, and it can have a true zero starting point. And that's just basically it for this video. I hope you learned something, and goodbye.